Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to another awesome Wednesday Omnibros Live topic episode. So, guys, get ready for some Mark Waid chit chat. My name is Gabe. Gabe loves 90s comics. And I'm sitting here tonight with the one and only, my boy Comics Guide. Lou, tell everybody what's up.
I am doing great. I've got a bottle of Suntory whiskey next to me right now, and that's what I will be sipping on tonight. I hope everybody's doing well out there.
Dude, you got like a big old bottle of that. That's like a handle or something.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Bro.
Yeah, this is
Well,
this bottle.
my brother-in-law brought me a bottle. It was like a smaller, like slimmer bottle. You got like a liter or something, dude. It's like a handle of Crown.
Yeah, this is a. How much was this bottle? 130.
Jesus.
It was a $130 bottle. It's awesome. But I love Japanese whiskey. It just goes down so smooth. Oh my god.
Man. Speaking about going down smooth, the show didn't quite go smoothly today, everybody. Sorry for the lateness. The one and only Omni Dog got a little bit of a
little bit cold. He wasn't feeling too hot.
He's not feeling good at the last minute. So either way, shout out, sending peace and love and good vibes over to Jess.
Absolutely.
Just a weird sickness going around. Jeez.
Absolutely.
My kids got nailed with something too. So either way, everybody, again, thanks so much for showing up. You could have been anywhere in the world today, right? But you're here with us. So we'll chit chat. We'll talk about some Mark Waid going on. But first, we got the one and only InStockTrades.com, who's our sponsor. So everybody, if you don't already know, taking advice from some seasoned veterans here in the Omnibus collecting game, don't pay full price for your newly released collected editions. Omnibuses, hardcovers, absolutes, compendiums, any graphic novel you could think of, any format you could think of, new releases. Don't spend all your hard-earned money on paying cover price. Instead, head right on down below there to our sponsor, InStockTrades.com, where you can get up to 50% off of your books. That's ranging all across the board from Marvel, DC, all kinds of fun stuff always going up there. Best packaging, best shipping. It's worth it. I'm telling you guys, to pay that extra like $4 for that upgraded shipping. Pay your $50. Get your $50 kind of threshold for that free shipping. That's right. Did you hear me? Free shipping. Orders of $50 or more in the US. But if you pay that extra $4 for that extra like UPS ground, you get that thing like super quick.
Yes, you do.
Best customer service. All of our friends out there, shout out to InStock Trades. Hook them up. Take a look at their website if you haven't done that yet. Get some books for cheap.
Absolutely.
Anyways, I'm sure you can find some really cool Mark Waid stuff there. Boom. All right. So anyways, we were kind of came up in the Monday show about Mark Waid, just how he is just there's no hit and miss. Like whether it's Marvel, whether it's DC, whether it's Boom. I'm trying to think of other publishers. He's probably done them all. But anywhere you go, if you follow Mark Waid, you're going to have a good time.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing is with Mark Waid is that, one, he's been in the industry for so long. And two, I think it could be argued he has way more hits than misses. A lot of people would kill to have something along the lines of Kingdom Come on their resume. And Mark Waid has a litany of different things that you could go down his list. And they could go anywhere from his stuff involving Fantastic Four, Kingdom Come,
X-Men, Avengers,
Daredevil. Yeah, you name it. The guy has basically written it at some point for the big two. And 9 times out of 10, I would say it's been great stuff.
Did we say Daredevil?
Daredevil. You brought Daredevil up. Absolutely. I think Daredevil is one of his best. I think in the grand scheme of things, we could probably rank a lot of Mark Waid's stuff if we were to do a top 5 just with that. I personally feel I love Kingdom Come.
Mhm.
I adore that story. I think it's amazing. And I think Kingdom Come is just the rare moment where you get the right writer and the right artist, because you've also got Alex Ross at the top of his game on Kingdom Come. That is a beautiful book.
That'd be a different book without Alex Ross for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Totally be a different book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got Kingdom Come for sure. Daredevil. His Fantastic Four is one of my favorites. Like, his Fantastic Four is my go-to answer for people who don't know anything about the Fantastic Four, or they want to get introduced into the Fantastic Four, especially now with like all the big movie rumors. Like, we were even talking about it a little bit earlier. So like when the Fantastic Four movie starts and the characters start showing up in the films, Marvel will be really, really dumb if they didn't have that Mark Waid Fantastic Four readily available, because that is the best like go-to spot. If you don't know anything about the Fantastic Four, his run is the run that introduces you to everything. It's one of the most correct, which is really weird. It's one of the most correct characterizations and runs of the Fantastic Four. Like, he treats them as a family, doesn't treat them like superheroes.
Yeah.
He treats them as just adventurers looking for things, and that gets them into trouble, or that gets them in some kind of adventure or something like that. They're not the ones that really show up and go, dun dun dun, we're here to save you, everybody, all the civilians, watch out for that falling building. You know, none of that stuff.
I think the
trying to think what else.
I think the best thing about the Fantastic, and by the way, I've never read that run. I've
I'm kicking you out.
I've actually never read Mark Waid's Fantastic Four run, despite the fact that I've heard amazing things about it.
You're only hurting yourself by not reading it.
I know. I've heard amazing things from everybody that's apparently read it. I've heard it's way more accessible than the Hickman stuff, which I know, we all bow at the Church of Hickman.
Absolutely.
Here. But this is probably more digestible. And the thing is, I always see the Fantastic Four as something that's more, they're characters that are more reactionary versus characters that just jump right into it. I think that's really what the strength of the book is you want a story about family first, because that's what they are. They're a family first, and they just happen to, like you said, be explorers, and they go on crazy adventures. And that's one of the things that I think I also loved about the Alex Ross book that came out last year, Full Circle, where he just gets it. He gets who they are. He gets that they're a family, and he understands the concept of what the Fantastic Four is and what they're supposed to be. And I just, bottom line, I need to sit down and read that run, because everybody.
Yeah, you're missing out. Everybody, there's 3 people in the chat I saw that said they haven't read it either. You're missing out. Like, it is definitely, that's the book that's going to make you fall in love with Fantastic Four. From there, you can go anywhere. Nobody needs to read Fantastic Four from number 1, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, and go all the way forward or anything like that. But it's a great read, right? All the runs, for the most part, great runs from all kinds of great writers and stuff like that. Not really too many of them really lead one into another. Where, you can just kind of pick them up and read them. But if you start with Mark Waid, that's going to be your kind of litmus test of whether you're going to tolerate the Fantastic Four, if you're going to like it or not. And then you can go and you can do like John Byrne, you can do Hickman, you can do the Stan Lee stuff, you can do Walt Simonson or Tom DeFalco, any of that stuff. But that's going to be the one that's going to that's your primer. That's the one that's going to let you know who these characters are.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Although I do think that if you can stomach the wordy dialogue, and it's very prose heavy, you absolutely at some point in your comic reading life need to read those original Fantastic Four issues by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
Simply because you will figure out how much stuff came out of those 50 plus, I think it's like 50 issues.
They did 101 together.
They did how many?
101.
Jesus Christ, I'm way off. Yeah, out of those 101 issues, I forget. Yeah, there's quite a few omnibuses.
Because 50's right after Galactus.
You're right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You are correct. how much stuff came out
And
of
that's it.
those?
That's just at 50, and you get Galactus. Like
Right.
then after that, you get like, and then you get the Inhumans at that, right before that too. But then you get Black Panther in 52, and you get all that stuff going forward from there.
How much stuff just comes out of that amazing run, and not only that, how much of it was just flying by the seat of their pants, and Stan Lee being, because Stan was more of the idea guy, where he'd throw a few ideas at Jack Kirby, and Jack Kirby's like, okay, yeah, I got it, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So there's always been that argument of how much of the creativity was Stan Lee and how much was actually Jack Kirby. There's kind of been like,
They get into that in the Mark Waid run, actually.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, absolutely do. Like 100%, they break it down.
Because, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't hate Stan Lee is the thing.
Sure.
I certainly think he's done a lot of amazing stuff for comics and everything like that. But there's always been the underlying of a lot of people saying, well, Stan didn't pay what he was supposed to pay, and he kind of stole certain ideas. There's a famous panel of Alan Moore, who is a very known grump in the industry, where he was asked, so what do you think about Stan Lee? And he does not hold back his thoughts on Stan Lee.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's a must read, but again, with the Mark Waid, that's gonna be your primer for that.
Yeah.
God, I'm trying to think of some of the apparently like DC stuff is like current World's Finest. Just was saying was like really great. But even now, like, he's been in comics for like 40 years, 30 years probably. And he's still pumping out quality stuff. Like he's still one of the like big writers. Like you don't really have many big writers right now, I feel like. And like there used to be like a pool of them where you could just name off like 10 or 20 great writers at one time. And right now it's whatever you can name off, Mark Waid's gonna be a part of it. You get some old school guys still, like Mark Waid, Peter David, still pumping out great stuff.
Yep.
And he's one of them, man. That's Mark Waid. I'm trying to think of some DC stuff. I know his Daredevil stuff is amazing. Somebody in the chat says that it's split readers, which I've never heard of before. Super laugh hard. That his Daredevil run was like divisive.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't hear that.
Nope.
No, I'd always heard his Daredevil run was incredible. To be honest, I don't think I've ever heard anyone complaining about this is super laugh hard. To be honest, I don't think I've ever heard anyone complaining about Waid's work, apart from his Daredevil run, which seems to split readers. I haven't heard that. I've heard the second half of that run where he goes to Cali. I know quite a few people, they weren't feeling it as much as the first half.
Oh, that second volume? Yeah.
Yeah. And I
fell off at that point for some reason. I don't know why. It wasn't that I wasn't liking it. Something just came up and I just fell off of that book.
I mean, I guess slight spoiler. It's been around for forever at this point, that run. Slight spoilers. So Matt heads out to California. His identity is fully out, and he's basically Daredevil, but without the suit. He's just running around, in his lawyer clothes and stuff like that, and he's helping people and he's fighting crime. And I get why certain people don't like that. I personally didn't mind it as much because I still think the writing is as sharp as ever.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, for so long, Matt, throughout that series, is going, I'm not Daredevil. I'm not Daredevil. I'm not Daredevil. And he's playing with fans, with the people's expectations. He shows up at a party famously wearing a I'm not Daredevil shirt.
I had a shirt like that. I had that shirt. Yeah.
It's so good. And then eventually he just flat out comes out and says it to everybody. And now they've retconned that. Now nobody remembers he's Daredevil after that run. Chip Zdarsky's taken over, and I'm pretty sure they've retconned that.
But dude, that first volume that he was doing is untouchable.
Mark Waid? Yeah.
Mark Waid Daredevil stuff, and it started out with like Paulo Rivera, Marcos Martin. They were switching back and forth for a while.
Yeah.
And then we got Chris Samney.
Well, the thing is with that run is that
that run's unbeatable, dude. I'll put that up against almost anything.
The thing is with that run is that Daredevil for so long had been this grimdark character who he'd been kicked in the mud, he just absolutely torn apart. That Mark Waid decided, you know what? I can't keep doing this to the character because there's only so far you can fall. So he kind of takes Daredevil back to his roots. because originally Daredevil was more of a swashbuckling kind of hero. Mark Waid decides, okay, we're going to kind of bring that full circle. We're going to bring that around where Matt Murdock is finally accepting kind of who he is and starting to deal with some of his mental health issues and stuff like that. And you would be mistaken if you think, oh, it's all lighthearted and super fun and stuff like that. It is very super fun. I mean, in the first few issues, he fights Stiltman and he kicks his ass, and it's actually it's a really fun story. But he takes that and he deals with. Matt has to actually accept the fact that he's dealing with a lot of stuff. He's dealing with depression, and he touches on that in a lot of different ways and a lot of different styles. Where Matt, for the longest time, is denying. He's like, no, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. I'm not feeling this way, And in certain ways, that's not healthy. So he explores that aspect of Matt Murdock. He has an amazing relationship in this run with Foggy Nelson. Mark Waid gets the relationship with Foggy Nelson better than almost anybody I think that's written the kid. He nails it. There's this whole section of his run where Foggy Nelson has been diagnosed with something, and Matt Murdock and Foggy they're dealing with it throughout the story, and it's actually very heartwarming. It's a beautiful story, and you're wondering, is Foggy going to be okay? Yeah.
It's a great run all together, bro. Like I haven't read that second part yet, the second volume, but this one here is, oh my god, this is like, I'm just flipping through the covers. I'm like, and I'm remembering the issues. I'm like, oh, that's right. That's the one where he's in Latveria. That's the one where he fights the Claw. That's
oh my god, I forgot the Latveria stuff. Yeah, that's good. He introduces that villain right there. Akiri, I can't remember exactly his name right now. Which is great. The whole concept of Akiri is fantastic. I'm not going to give it away here, but I loved it. I love the fact that we're getting a new villain. He makes the Spot genuinely terrifying.
Oh yeah, he made the Spot like a badass.
Yeah. And
he's in that first issue.
He's in there. And the thing is, the Spot is now being used in the new Spider-Verse film. And I'm thinking, okay, they must have read what Mark Waid did, because otherwise you're not going to take the Spot too seriously.
Dude, well, because then he started becoming a badass in Spider-Man after that as well, too.
Yeah.
And that's probably the version they're going to use. And you actually get to see how the Spot's powers work in this, too.
How great is the art, man? So we got Marcos.
Everybody talks about Chris Samney, and I love his stuff, but I love the Marcos Martin and Paulo Rivera kind of like switch off they were doing.
I kind of wish they could have kept going, but I love Chris Samney. So this book starts off with Paulo Rivera and Marcos Martin.
Yeah.
They don't stay on the book long, but then we get Chris Samney, and I was like, you know what? That's a fair trade. I love Chris Samney's art, so I'll take that.
At that point, I didn't know much about Chris Samney other than like Thor, Mighty Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing a lot of indie stuff. Like he was really coming. He was like an indie like darling for a little bit. But man, him and Mark Waid on Daredevil was a fantastic combination.
Yeah, I love the first issue where he's kind of back to the whole swashbuckling stuff. He interrupts a wedding and he takes the bride, and
I just showed that part where he kissed the bride. Yeah,
that's so good. Oh my god!
And that was one thing. Like this is to kind of touch back on Super Laugh Hard. This is the only time that I heard anybody ever say anything negative about the run was when it first came out, because people didn't like didn't like the idea of him being like happy-go-lucky and it being like a happy-go-lucky kind of series.
Yeah.
But then as it went on, you're like, I don't care. Like Mark Waid's got me. Just he's got his claws in me. I'm in for the run.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's just another proof of my theory that Daredevil is the character that's probably had the best runs, like consistently.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at the
creator after creator after creator, yeah. Look at this, dude. Look at this double page spread of them crossing the street. You get to see like how like
his powers work.
But just I can't really point so well, but just how you get to see him kind of cross, the street from one corner and then across the other, like on the same page. Like this is brilliant stuff, dude.
And that's a setup that and a less talented artist could be really confusing.
Yeah.
But he maps it out so well. That's Marcos Martin, right?
This is Paulo Rivera.
That's Paulo Rivera. He maps it out so well that you're not confused as to what's going on and how it's playing out.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like somebody without the right goods would have totally destroyed up that page. It would not have worked, perspective wise and storytelling wise and stuff like that. Yeah, what this is? Oh, I don't remember what issue it was. I don't remember a lot of the series. I read it when it was coming out in issues, so you kind of get that issue brain where it's like I forget what happened last issue when the next one comes out, right? But it's just that part where he takes in, I believe he was Chinese, or he took in somebody into his home who needed his help and protection, and he opens up the cupboards, and it's just he asked for tea. He goes, "Oh yeah, I got tea over there in the cupboard." And he opens up the cupboard, and it's just a stockpile of tea, because it's all about like Matt's sensory and like how he smells things and how he tastes things. So he has all this like great smelling tea in his house, stuff like that. And for some reason, that's always stuck in my mind. Or there's that part saying it might be the same issue, but somebody's trying to snipe shoot him through the windows.
Yeah,
and the bullet, like noise is like you actually kind of see it spelled out like onomatopoeia style. Like it's part of the artwork. It's so cool. Yeah, this is a great series. Mark Waid he's just a maniac, dude. He's on a different realm where he just does not put out bad stuff.
He is.
You know?
I want to talk about the more recent stuff while we're on the subject. His Batman and Superman World's Finest book. It's about 11 issues in right now. And I'm telling you guys, if you are not reading this, Jess and I have praised this to the moon. It is, for me, the best superhero book that I'm reading right now. Simply because of the fact that it goes back to basics. It's just Batman, Superman, stuff happens, and they have to deal with it. There's no message to beat you over the head with it and stuff like that. They're not trying to shoehorn things that you don't care about. Mark Waid gets it. He gets the characters. He gets what a fun comic book story should be. And the reason this thing works is because it feels old school. It feels like an old school comic that you would pick up from the stands back in I would say 70s, 80s, and you would fall in love with it. It's so good, Gabe. Honestly, you really do need to read it.
I'm in it. I do. Like I was going to get the singles because it's Mark Waid. I was like, I'm going to get Mark Waid. I like to follow this stuff, but can't do singles really right now. And new singles.
Yeah.
I'm in it, dude. Like I want to get that collection that's already out. It's like a small hardcover. It's like a standard size hardcover is already out or something. Like I'm in there, man. I need it.
I think Doc Shaner, if I'm not mistaken, is the one that's doing
my God.
that book. And no, Dan Mora. My mistake. Dan Mora.
Okay.
My bad. Got the whiskey in me a little bit right now, so I'm a little loopy. Dan Mora is the one that does art duties on it, and the book is fucking gorgeous, dude. It's so good. In the first 3 issues, you have Metallo, you have the Doom Patrol that show up.
That's awesome.
It's so good.
He just has fun with comics. That's why I like his stuff, because he's a comic head, like hardcore. Larry in the chat's talking about how they both used to contribute to Comic Base, which was like this website that would like people used to be able to like keep their collections on, and it was a whole like own community itself. And they're talking about Larry's talking about him and Mark Waid had like the most points due to like being a contributor. And Mark Waid's a maniac, dude. Like he is like an encyclopedia for DC Comics. Even on his Twitter, like he's doing something with the timelines, or something to do with the timelines and the different Earths with DC. Because on his Twitter, he goes, "Does anybody have a complete, honest to goodness, correct timeline of number of Earths and stuff like that?" And nobody can help him out. Like everybody was trying to say, "No, that's not correct, right?" They were like, "Oh, multiversity, this and all this," but he's just that guy that just loves it. And he has fun doing it, and it comes out in his work. And I have fun when he has fun writing it. Like I'm a part of it.
Yeah. Wasn't Multiversity wasn't that whole thing supposed to be a map of the different universes, right? That's what Grant Morrison was going for.
Right. It came with the map. All the promotion behind it is in comic book stores. Like posters of like the timeline or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. You were working in shop at that time, right?
Oh yeah, I was working at a different store at the time. Yeah,
Okay.
I worked in comic book stores for a long time. Like I would have like a second job, and it was usually at a comic book store.
You ever thought about managing a store? Maybe a small shop?
No,
No.
I don't want to go. I'm not going to do it by I'm not going to do it for somebody else.
Yeah.
If I do, I'll do it for me. And I don't know how steady the comic book market is.
No, I'm saying, would you open up your own shop? You ever thought about opening up your own? And
You know, that thought crosses my mind a lot every so often, but I'm just not sure how I feel in terms of like, because you have to have new issues,
right?
You know, you have to have a pull list section and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm just not sure how stable things feel for me currently, like the current books, the variant game, stuff like that. You know, if I could just do a pure like back issue like store, I'd be down for it. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I forgot what we were talking about.
We were talking about World's Finest.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, you told me how awesome it is.
Yeah, no, you 100% you need to pick it up. You would love it, just because I know your sensibilities and I know you're not really crazy about a lot of the stuff that's been pumped out over the last few years and everything. So I'm telling you, if you pick it up and enjoy it, you definitely need to get the deluxe.
No, I'm in, dude. I want to check it out. Like, it's just so much I'm trying to read now.
Yeah,
and there's so much good stuff that I'm hearing about. So I'll just keep going my current trajectory because I'm going through like that Punisher Max, and then all this Daredevil talks got me wanting to do like a Daredevil run.
Right.
But I still got to work on find a couple of issues. But yeah, I want to, man. I'm not against it at all. I'm ready for it. I just got to find that schedule to read it.
Have you read his Superman Birthright?
No.
Oh wow, yeah. So Superman Birthright is his retelling of the origin story of Superman.
Okay.
It's more of a modern contemporary take.
Yeah, that's where that S stands for hope thing comes from. Right?
Yes.
Or the symbol.
Yeah. A lot of the more modern contemporary things of Superman come from actually that small little run that he did.
Yeah.
And it's also got really good art as well. It's basically Mark Waid said, yeah, I'm going to retell Superman's origin story. And it's Mark Waid. So everybody was like, sure. Go for it. Nobody's gonna question that. Yeah, man, do it.
Here's Cleveland Brown real fast. He said just bought the standard hardcover, so he's gonna wait for the deluxe edition hardcover to come out for World's Finest, which is probably smart. Thank you, Jess, for making the hardcover happen. Probably.
I wish we had Jess on because I have not read much of Irredeemable.
Oh my god, I could talk to you about Irredeemable all day long.
Go for it, brother.
It's me and Jess are like the only ones in our group that seem to know about that book.
Jess specifically pushes it. I think that's his favorite comic of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead and pitch it.
So it's another trope of what if Superman was evil.
Seen it a million times.
Right? You get it all over the place. But this is a completely just Mark Waid take. On like whatever he wanted to do. Like it seems like this is what he would want to do if he was still writing Justice League, where it is the Plutonian who is taking over the world, and his old super group, basically the Justice League, are trying to find ways to take him down. And it's like a manga in the form that it just keeps escalating, where it's ground level, then it gets cosmic, then it gets like super cosmic. It just keeps continually in growing in like the escalation and the size of the story. It's a book that came out through Boom, and I think this was before he was editor-in-chief of Boom or whatever. But it was like the only book from Boom that wasn't like a little kitty baby book. So it was really like, because back then they were just doing like a lot of like funny animal books,
Sonic stuff like
that. No, this is Boom. Like so Sonic was Archie then. Wow. So Boom back then I think was just doing like, it seemed like Steven Universe style books.
Yeah.
But not mainstream stuff like Steven Universe. It was just like random stuff, but it was all very kiddie. And then the Irredeemable book comes out, and it's just mass genocide and murder. And just evil Superman, and how he has like this, and how the Lois Lane version in this, how she tries to take him down with the Justice League group, and the Justice League group is evil, and there's like their main evil protagonist Lex Luthor kind of guy is like a cyborg. It's just crazy stuff, dude. Like it's a great book. I got to get that birthright though, man. I need to talk about
Superman birthday.
Yeah.
Irredeemable was one of those stories that I had started it. I, for whatever reason, fell off. Oh no, I remember what happened. I bought the first, I think, Omnibus. Do you remember that whole thing?
It was like an absolute. It was like a slipcase.
Yes.
book. Yeah.
And then they never published the second one.
Yep.
Famously, they never published the second. So Irredeemable, there was an edition that came out that was a beautiful deluxe oversized collection. And
it was like an absolute.
Yeah, it was basically an absolute format. And everybody was like, all right, cool. When are we getting the second volume of this? Never came out.
Yeah, never came. And for the longest time, like even like because I got the standard hardcovers that came out, those things disappeared really quick and were really hard to find. And then they came out with the recent like big thick compendiums, and those seem to be ones that they stay in print, or maybe they just haven't sold out yet. But I always see them on shelves. I always see them available on Amazon and stuff.
Yeah,
but you need to finish that series, dude. Like, digital, whatever you got, man. It's worth it.
Did you ever read the spinoff Incorruptible?
I didn't. I have the compendium for it, but I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, other than there's like a 2-issue like crossover in there, but yeah.
Oh man, that was one of the things that I know we're kind of getting off track here, but that was one of the things that towards the ending of Fables that really I was like, oh god, because it started to cross over into Jack of Fables, and I was not reading Jack of Fables, so and I had heard Jack of Fables not that great. So we start getting into like this big war event and stuff like that towards the end of Fables, and it's like, well, you got to read this because it ties into this, and you've got characters popping in and out. And I'm like, oh, don't do this. I love Fables so much. I can't believe you're doing this right now.
Yeah, it's hard to get the spinoffs of stuff too, especially now because that's what it is. Because I was trying to read Fables, everybody was like, oh, you got to read Jack of Hearts too, and I was like, I don't know if I want to read Jack. Like,
You don't need to read Jack of Fables until pretty deep into it. You're pretty good just reading the standard stuff.
Yeah.
And I would rank Fables as top 5 Vertigo books of all time. I absolutely adore that book. I think it's incredible. Bill Willingham. Bill Willingham to me is a great fucking writer. He understands, and just the way that he takes certain characters and certain stories that you know from your childhood and what you would expect from certain characters, and how he twists that and he turns that, and you get the real story of who they are and how those stories changed and what the real story was. And it's brilliant.
My favorite thing that he did is that just him building the universe.
Yes.
Like he takes all everyone's like childhood fairy tales that we all know and makes them one universe and makes them so they interact differently. And you see, okay, well, this is how they interact with this character. This character, you never would see crossover. And now they're crossing over and you get them to interact with one another. So it's fun stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really cool because what ends up happening eventually is that the fairy tale characters, they are living amongst us. They are living in society. But they're hidden. Some of them, they get full jobs and stuff like that, and you don't realize you're talking to like Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk and stuff like that. And he's just using a lame excuse. This doesn't happen in the book, but he's like a hot dog stand owner or something like that. Yeah. And the main antagonist in Fables isn't revealed until I want to say 50 or 60 issues in, something deep like that. But there's always this mystery of who is this character, and when the main antagonist is finally revealed, you just go, yeah, that makes sense. That's great. You set it up wonderfully. That totally makes sense that this character would be this.
I need to finish reading that series. Again, it's just so much stuff keeps coming up. I was like 3 books deep, and then something came up and I fell off.
So you read the first volume, right?
I read the first 3 hardcovers.
Okay.
I mean, I read more than that before, but I don't remember any of it because I was reading it like in singles. Because back then I would buy like the trade paperbacks until I caught up to the singles. And back then it was only maybe like 1 or 2 like items. I was getting it from like issue like 12 on, if not earlier, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where, again, single issue brain where it's like, oh, I forgot what happened the last issue because I read so many single issues.
Yeah.
But no, it's like I said, it's exciting because it's just like you get to see like, you know, Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk interact with like Snow White or, you know, things like that. It's kind of, you know, you wouldn't see that happen otherwise. Let me see. More Mark Waid.
He had a Flash run.
Oh, dude, I haven't read that run. Tell me about it.
I haven't read it either.
Shit. Everybody talks about that. And we're the Wally West fans, you know.
Yes, we are.
But I never read that run of his.
Yeah, Wally. Well, Wally was my Flash. That's the thing. You can always tell the generation of kids that were by their Flash, their Green Lantern. So, for example, my Green Lantern was Jon Stewart, but it wasn't even because of the comics. It was Justice League the animated series. So when
that was everybody. That's like everybody's like Green Lantern. If you weren't reading comics like in a very, very young age, that's your Green Lantern.
Absolutely.
Because when they did the Ryan Reynolds movie, I remember people were like, I thought he was a black guy. I thought Green Lantern was a black dude.
I kind of had a similar reaction too because at the time I really wasn't reading comics. I wasn't that deep into it, and then they're talking about Hal Jordan, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Where's Jon Stewart? Which is why I kind of hope we know with the James Gunn stuff that eventually he's gonna blow up the Green Lantern Corps to be huge, because it kind of sounds like that Green Lantern Corps series that he's doing now is, he said it's already along the lines of something like True Detective. So it's gonna be Hal Jordan. I think he even said Jon Stewart is
Jon Stewart. Yeah.
So.
No, what he said, the thing is that they discover something, and that leads up to the rest of the series.
Right.
So maybe a black ring.
Oh my God! Don't do
maybe a yellow ring. I don't know.
Don't do that to me.
Red ring.
Don't do that.
I don't know if anybody hopes up.
I don't know. It kind of seems like this stuff that he's doing over there at the DC stuff is like the universe is already set up. We're kind of just getting thrown into the middle of it, and we play catch up.
Fine with me. I was like reading comic books when I was a kid.
Yeah. All right, man. I think I'm almost ready to call it an early one tonight. We started pretty late tonight.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Cool, everybody. Well, thanks everybody for showing up. We're gonna cut this pretty soon. Leave us comments about what your favorite Mark Waid series is. Do you have any great Mark Waid interactions? I met him at conventions before. I met him at Diamond conventions. Super nice guy. And follow us on Instagram. You can follow me, Gabe Loves 90s Comics, Omnibros on Instagram. Hit us up on Spotify. We're on Spotify. This all gets turned into an audio podcast as well on Spotify. Mm-hmm. Lou, where can people find you at?
You can find me getting great savings at our sponsor, InStockTrades.com.
There you go. Son of a gun. Thank you, Lou. Totally forgot about that for a second. So everybody, right before we end this, let's not forget, like I did, to plug the amazing, the powerful, the incredible InStockTrades.com. That's where you can spend money the right way. Yeah. Right? Don't pay full price for your new collected editions. Okay? Hit up InStockTrades.com where you can get up to 50% off on omnibuses, collected editions of hardcovers, Mark Waid books. I'm sure you can probably find Kingdom Come on there. You might be able to find some Daredevil trade paperbacks in there for him as well. Justice League. Hit up InStock Trades. Find all your great Mark Waid stuff on there. Get great discounts. Shipping's free if you make an order of $50 or more in the United States. Awesome packaging that you want to keep so that you can use it for later when you sell it or you move or whatever the case might be. Thanks again to InStock Trades, the #1 spot for all your collected editions needs. All right, Lou, where can we find you at? For real.
Comics Guide 101 on Twitter, Comics Guide 101 on YouTube.
All right. Again, everybody, thanks for showing up. We're out of here.
Good night, everybody.